with him. Normally, I would have him in this loop where I'm having sex with him and him, and they both know it. When I'm mad at him, I go to him. When I'm mad at him, I go to him. It's not a secret. It's not like I'm playing either one, because they both know.
Do you agree with her assertion that when you all had sex, the condom broke?
Condom broke. It was sex. It was fun. So let's go cheat on him.
Pretty much.
Good job.
You sleep with Mr. Volmar, another guy.
No, we had sex.
Oh.
Sex. No sleeping.
Let's just be respectful for it.
Mr. Hartfield is in court today with his wife to prove that the child his mistress claims is his isn't. The mistress, Ms. Streeter, says he's only denying the child to save his marriage. Well, let us see how true that is.
Ms. Streeter, you claim that during your relationship with the defendant, he convinced you to get pregnant with his child, but what you didn't know is that he was a married man.
Yes, Your Honor.
It's husband and wife against the mistress today. Although Mr. Hartfield admits to cheating, he doesn't believe he is the father of Ms. Streeter's child because she has multiple sexual partners. Well, let's get more details about the case.
Mr. Hartfield asked me to have a baby with him. We were dating for about 8 months, a long time. We were in a relationship, a committed relationship with just me and him. And throughout the whole relationship, he wanted to have a baby. He said he didn't get to raise any of his.
We already know this is going to be a heated episode. Ms. Streeter says Mr. Hartfield directly asked her to carry his child, but he's outrightly denying it, saying she's mixing him up with someone else.
What point did you discover he was married? Let's get to that.
He had ended up telling me a relative's name, and I had went on Facebook and found the relative, then found Mrs. Hartfield's page, then that's when I seen pictures of them.
Each party claims the other person is lying, and we no longer know who to believe. Ms. Streeter still insists they were in a committed relationship for 8 months and that the pregnancy was intentional. But Mr. Hartfield says the story is false.
What game is this you feel like you need to play with a 22-year-old girl where your line is, I'm horny?
Your Honor, I am dealing with a 22-year-old.
Mr. Hartfield is more than twice Miss Streeter's age. Wow. Now he's saying he plays her silly games because she blackmails him, and if he doesn't, she'll report him to his wife. Seems like Mr. Hartfield really cares about this marriage of his. Why then did he cheat?
Dominique deals with so many guys, okay? She found one that was an older guy, and she thought that I would be, a cake daddy, or however you want to call it. The thing is that she found out, hey.
Did Ms. Streeter just say he told her he would marry her? What was she thinking believing him? Mr. Hartfield thinks she chose him to fill the role of her baby daddy because out of her many sexual partners, she thought he was the richest. Now, that's crazy.
In on all of these details and the fact he's still texting this 22-year-old young woman?
No, he did not.
How did you even find out about this entire affair?
The text message that I received from her.
Mrs. Hartfield is not happy. One would have thought the marriage was perfect with how her husband kept rambling about trying to save it. He doesn't even take care of the kids from his marriage. It now makes sense why he insists Ms. Streeter's child is not his.
Hartfield, you're a married man.
Yes.
But you're on this child's original birth certificate.
No, well, the name is printed. There's no signature of mine.
So at first you allowed your name to be printed?
They did that while I wasn't there, y'all.
After the baby was born, Mr. Hartfield originally signed the birth certificate but quickly withdrew his signature. Why the back and forth, mister? Or is Mr. Hartfield right about the baby not being his? Are his suspicions valid?
My wife, I love her. God knows I do. During the time that Dominique and I met, I had my own place.
He was
Dominique
still
had her
living
own
with
place.
me. I didn't know he had his own place.
Wait a minute, I don't need her support. I don't need your support.
Whoa. Now, I didn't see that coming. Mr. Hartfield just proved to the entire court that he is two-faced. He expresses his love for his wife, and seconds later, he disrespectfully asks her to sit down and shut up because she isn't corroborating his story. Wow.
Yeah.
And this is
that's
baby
me.
Caleb
that's right.
together.
I did that last week, actually.
Also,
something else.
Baby, sit down, please. You ain't got nothing to do with this.
I sure
Go
don't
ahead,
have
y'all.
anything to do with it.
I wish
Pick
I
your lie.
Why are you here?
Because you asked me to be here.
If he's acting this way in court, heaven knows how nasty he acts outside. Did he really think his wife was going to stand there and support him after he cheated and lied to her? Wow, and it gets even worse.
classic.
Thank you.
You're classic. You really are.
Thank you, y'all.
I mean, it's just, if I pulled up the profile of cheater, con man, clown, and coward.
You mean Mrs. Hartfield is wife number 7? Guess we found ourselves a Mr. Evelyn Hugo. And what's with the clapping? This has to be one of the most arrogant men to appear on paternity court.
Mr. Hartfield, you may be one of the most disappointing men I've ever seen in this courtroom.
Thank you.
You are really, no, the clapping, I mean, what a disgrace.
Thank you. Thank you, Your Honor.
It's only been minutes and Judge Lauren is tired of Mr. Hartfield. Now imagine how the two women have dealt with him for so long. Indeed, they need to run while they can.
I have given you every opportunity to tell your story and also acknowledge the fact that you have led this young girl down a road to nowhere.
Okay.
Now she may have a child by you.
Well, let's see if Judge Lauren gets the result she wants because this case is one really thorny issue. Hang on tight because the results that Judge Lauren is about to read out could blow you away.
Mr. Hartfield, you are the father.
Okay. That's cool. That's okay.
Do you understand now what you just made a child with?
Right.
No, look at me. I don't know what he told you up until this point.
Ms. Myers is on the quest to find out who her father is among the 13 possible candidates her mother, Ms. Madrigal, gave her. Can you believe that? 13 possible men could be her father? Really?
Ms. Myers, you have brought your mother, Ms. Madrigal, to court today because you claim she has no idea who your biological father is. You say your mother gave you a list of 13 possible men, and you are hoping to determine who your father is today.
At 26 years old, Ms. Myers has no idea who her biological father is. And guess what? So does her mother. However, to aid her daughter's search, Ms. Madrigal presented her with a list of 13 men, one of which may be her father.
When I was 13 years old, I had a father figure in my life, and he died at that age. And you know, when he died, I needed closure. I needed somebody to be there.
Within the span of a year, Miss Myers' potential father list grew and grew until it contained 13 names. That must have been tough for a teenager who had just lost her father figure, but her mother didn't care.
What about pick any man in Seattle?
You made
So
that
where
joke.
does this pick any man in
Hold
Seattle?
Hold on, because
When were
any friend that she met of mine, a guy friend, she'd ask him were they her father. Really? Are you serious?
Okay, that's some attitude. It's obvious that Ms. Madrigal isn't taking her daughter's search seriously. To her, it's all a big joke. It's a pity Ms. Myers has lived all her life with this question hanging over her head.
I feel lost. You know, I feel confused. I don't know who I am. I don't know my heritage. I don't know what I'm completely mixed with. I don't know where I came from. I don't know nothing.
You came from me.
Yeah, I
Doesn't
knew
matter.
you're half of the
Doesn't
family,
matter.
but that's only half
Nobody
the story.
else matter.
Yeah, millions of people have been raised by single parents, but that doesn't invalidate the importance of having both parents around, or at least knowing your roots. And how do you call your daughter a devil?
And I felt like I didn't have a father.
You got to understand, I didn't have to have you. I chose to have you.
All four.
So don't do
chose to
that.
have-
And now
She chose to
that
have
takes
me.
us back to determining who your father is.
That's right.
This mother and daughter do not like each other. While we can see why Miss Myers detests her mom, we don't know what her mom has against her and why she's been a terrible mom even though she chose to have her.
Hold on.
She had to bring it out here.
Okay, we've got to figure out whether two of the men that the court has identified is in fact Ms. Myers' father. Your statement to the court says that you've met.
Those two men need to get in here right now. One of the men's already hitting on his potential daughter. This is about to be an interesting ride. This one of the craziest cases we have ever seen, and it is about to get even crazier.
How did you find out that Ms. Madrigal was pregnant?
I did not know she was pregnant, Your Honor. I'm walking downtown Seattle where we live. I see her and the baby at the fountain. I said, oh, cute baby, who is she? She said, my daughter.
Ms. Madrigal admits to sleeping with two men on the same day, and she's not remorseful or ashamed about it. This is why Mr. McCraney did not and still doesn't believe Ms. Myers is his daughter.
I stayed the night over with him and his girlfriend and her kids.
Yes.
Come to find out that one of her kids was his child, but that she was in question at the time and they had to be tested years later.
Everyone.
I'll never forget, I told my mom, I said,
So disrespect kind of runs in the blood. Ms. Myers appears to be similar to her mother because that's no way to talk to an elderly person, whether he's your father or not. But she doesn't care whatsoever. Let us find out more.
Yes, it's
I'm
ratchet.
ratchet
It's
because I was
ratchet.
made
It's ratchet. But besides that, you don't know if you're related to these two. If there's 13 possibilities, if there's 13 possibilities.
Let's get it together.
These guys, everybody's attacking me like I'm the one that was laying down sleeping with people.
It's getting heated here. We feel ethereal pity for Ms. Myers, but she seems to have an attitude of her own. No matter how badly she wants to know who her father is, she doesn't want it to be Mr. McCraney. But what if he is?
Just don't with my own kid.
It doesn't matter because I'm your mama and I'm your daddy, and that's what I've been. So
No,
I don't
you're
care
not
what
my
nobody
daddy.
else
You ain't my
thinks.
mama. You
You
ain't
can
been my
save
mama or
it.
my
You can
daddy.
save it. You
So
can
I'm
tell
not
these people what
hearing
you
it.
want. They don't live in my shoes. I raised you.
Her mother is sick and tired of this tirade because she believes she's all her daughter needs. That makes sense, but at the same time, Ms. Madrigal shouldn't be standoffish about her daughter's desire to find out where she came from.
And now, how did you come to meet or have a relationship with Ms. Madrigal?
Around the age 19 to 20, we had a brief encounter of sex. And then one day I seen Samantha and she gave me a baby picture.
One thing we've learnt about Ms. Madrigal is that at a very young age, she was involved with too many men. After her daughter was born, she went around parading her to these men, telling each that he was her father, even though she wasn't sure about her paternity.
We've had a good relationship. He's been everything that I want as a father.
You do feel it's a possibility that you could be her father?
I mean, I think we look a lot alike.
Do you see the resemblance? Do you see it?
I see
Well,
it right
we both
here,
have big
standing
foreheads,
right
kind
here.
of.
This is the man Ms. Myers hopes is her dad. We hope for her sake he is. Let's find out what the DNA results say. And hang on tight, guys, because this episode will definitely blow you away.
That Mr. Smith, you are not Monica's father.
I never thought I'd have to hear that.
Mr. Keith McCraney, it has been determined by this court that you are the father.
Miss Lester believes Mr. Lewis denies fathering her 21-month-old son, Ryden, because she's refused to have sex with him anymore. But Mr. Lewis claims it's because Miss Lester was openly sleeping with other men.
Ms. Lester, you opened this case against Mr. Lewis because you say he denies fathering your 21-month-old son, Raiden.
Yes, Your Honor.
Only because you won't have sex with him.
Yes, Your Honor.
I'm curious to see what Mr. Lewis and Ms. Lester have in the bag today. There's a 21-month-old baby involved, and while Mr. Lewis says he is not the father, Ms. Lester insists he is. Let's find out more.
Me and Stanley planned my son.
We did not plan a baby.
Yes, we did.
No, we did not.
We've also never used a condom. We talked about having a baby numerous times, so this is all new to me on why he's not claiming my son.
These two have no filter and no respect for each other. Mr. Lewis knew Ms. Lester was known to sleep around. Why then did he continuously have unprotected sex with her? Why? Let us find out.
Oh, so you all knew each other for a long time?
Yes, we have. And seen her at a grocery store one day. She was with another man then, so I didn't say nothing. When I seen her on Facebook, I inboxed her.
They met up after a long time when they were both seeing other people. Then, out of the blue, they confessed love to each other and decided to have a baby. Now, this story is just ridiculous.
Correction, yes you did.
No, I
and
never
then,
thought this
the day I had my son, I did not call him because he knew the day that I was having my son because I had to get a cesarean operation.
Ms. Lester told another man that he was the father of her son. In fact, this man was at the hospital during the birth, and he signed the birth certificate. Why then is Ms. Lester suddenly pinning the paternity of her son on Mr. Lewis?
I had sex to the other man 2 weeks prior to him getting me finding out I was pregnant.
So why isn't the other man here too?
Because we did a test and it came back that he was not his father.
For what reason did she post paternity results on social media? That's insane. Guess she wanted everyone to know the other guy wasn't the father of her child, but it still doesn't make sense.
So upon the results being posted on social media, he called me.
Who posts paternity results on social media?
You know why? Excuse my language.
Please say it.
It's funny how people choose to hold back important details that could help the case go on faster. Up until now, why didn't anyone mention Mr. Lewis's possible sterility and Ms. Lester's fiancé? These should be the final pieces to complete the puzzle.
So, Mr. Lewis just testified that you and Ms. Lester have had a 10-year relationship.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you've been sexually active with her for those 10 years?
Not at all, Your Honor.
Stop lying, man. Quit front.
Well, Ms. Lester's got herself a good fiancé willing to step up and care for Ryden regardless of who his father is. But we can't figure out how Ms. Lester has been sleeping around while being in a 10-year-old relationship. How do you decide to have a baby with another man when you are engaged to someone else? It doesn't add up.
That still doesn't matter because if you've been 10 years on and off.
Not sexually, though, Your Honor.
Oh.
You believe it.
It's just.
You believe it.
He knows. And then, like I said, I'm really here for support, really.
It must be a hell of a ride being engaged to a woman like Ms. Lester. She claims she and her fiancé decided to be committed to each other at the start of the year. But just 2 weeks before this case, she hit on Mr. Lewis.
It's not like I'm playing neither one, because they
Just as
both
much
know.
as-
However, at the beginning of this year, that's when we decided to be serious with this relationship.
How can she be serious when she just hit me 2 weeks ago?
I called him.
Mr. Lewis's mom has formed a bond with the baby. Raiden spends time with their family, and Grandma doesn't want that taken away from her. Sadly, only the results can determine if Grandma's gonna get her wish or not.
Now, as you stand here and protest that there's no way you could possibly be this child's father, your mother, on the other hand, has fallen in love with the beautiful baby and wants Raiden to be her grandchild.
Correct.
Indeed, it'll be a miracle baby. And if there is one thing we know about paternity court, it is that miracles are always happening here. This is the most miraculous court in the world. The results are in. Let's find out whose baby Raiden is.
Mr. Lewis, you are not the father.
Can I say this? I made a mistake.
Ms. Hewlett slept with 2 men on the day she conceived her 2-year-old son, Bentley, but she believes he is Mr. Crisp's son. On the other hand, Mr. Crisp isn't as certain as she is because Ms. Hewlett is a serial cheat.
Ms. Hewlett, you admit that you slept with another man on the very same day, son you have with Mr. Crisp.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, Mr. Crisp, you claim Ms. Hewlett cheated on you at least 10 different times during your relationship.
Yes, Your Honor.
Crisp more than 10 times in the course of their relationship. How does she expect him to believe the child is his? Apart from that, she did sleep with 2 men on the day she conceived. So, the doubt's pretty strong.
It wasn't okay, but I mean, at least I told the truth that I told him as soon as I cheated on him. I told him 3 hours later. I told him 3 hours later.
That still don't give you no right to cheat on me.
So wait.
She started cheating because she felt isolated and unloved, but Mr. Crisp says he was unavailable because he couldn't process the death of his father and was trying to drown it with partying and all. Well, 2 wrongs don't make a right. Cheating isn't the solution to a partner's unavailability.
Handsome.
Plus, she told me he's cheated on me. I've had friends tell me. I mean,
So
how can I not have a doubt that he's mine?
Because during the time Bentley was conceived, admittedly, Ms. Hewlett, you slept with someone else.
Yes.
They are both in the wrong. Mr. Crisp shouldn't have left her alone for a long time partying and whatnot. And Ms. Hewlett shouldn't have slept with every available person because her partner wasn't around.
But ultimately, you ended up having a sexual relationship with him.
Yes, Your Honor.
Around the time your son was conceived.
Yes, Your Honor.
How soon after that were you also intimate with Mr. Crisp?
Within a 12 to 24-hour period.
First, we have to talk about Ms. Hewlett's nonchalant stance. That lady looks like she doesn't care. Secondly, how do you sleep with 10 men within your window of conception? This is a woman who has 2 kids with a man she's in a committed relationship with. Well, I guess they weren't so committed.
Has Ms. Hewlett always told you you were Bentley's father, or has she ever
She
told
has told me that I wasn't before.
Oh, she has.
We've gotten in a fight before, and she says, well, you just need to go on because you're not really his father anyways.
They already have 2 kids together. Throwing it in his face that he isn't the father of the 3rd one couldn't have been nice. Miss Hewlett shot herself in the leg by saying that to him. Well, let us find out more.
And you say the other gentleman is now deceased?
Yes, ma'am, he is. 3 months after I found out I was
Did he
pregnant.
have blonde hair? Did he have some of the features that you see in your son?
Yes, Your Honor. His sister says that Bentley looks just like his baby pictures.
It's scary at this point because Bentley looks more like the other potential father than he looks like Mr. Crisp. However, this man is deceased. Then there's Mr. Crisp, who's grown attached to the boy. What's going to happen if it turns out he's not Mr. Crisp's son?
I love the boy. I love him to death, but the other 2, I kind of more attached to him than I am the other 2. You
So-
could choose somebody else to sleep with. But
Is it bothering you that you're hoping that he is yours and
I
you're
really
just
hope
not
it.
sure?
Yeah, I already hope he's mine.
It's devastating to see how kids are affected by their parents and their upbringing, and how things that shouldn't be passed down are passed down from one generation to another. Ms. Hewlett's mom has been in the same situation as her daughter, confused about Ms. Hewlett's paternity. This is not a convenient situation to be in.
Because what I see now is 2 adults here that can't figure out how to be in a healthy relationship, have no clue what commitment means, but ultimately it's the children that are suffering.
The couple could go on and on complaining about how one cheats and the other is never around, but that's not going to solve anything. They need to solve their individual issues and either work on the relationship or break up, because that seems like a healthier choice.
I like to hope just to get this, find this out, get this, over with, so
You indicated that you do want Bentley to be your biological child.
Yes, Your Honor. And I was going to, get married to her and just settle down and live a happy life.
And of course, now he has the perfect plan. He wants to marry Ms. Hewlett, find a job, and do his part in raising the kids. He's suddenly inspired to be a better partner and dad just because of a few words from the judge. It's easier said than done, Mr. Crisp. It takes intentionality to make it work.
Miss Hewlett, what are your hopes?
To be better parents, to get along, to take care of our kids and raise our family. Us to suffer anymore. We've suffered a lot. I about lost him. I about lost my life. I mean, I do need his help. If he wants to be there, I need his help.
Will Ms. Hewlett and Mr. Crisp get a chance at the perfect family they want to build? Let's hear what the DNA results say. And hang on to you seat guys, because you will not believe what this result is.
Mr. Crisp, you are his father.
That's great. That's great.
Did you not know that, Paula? That's great.
That's the first time any of you smiled today.
Sorry.
I can tell you are all so nervous.